On behalf of your host, Steve D, this is Bruce Buffer saying thank you for tuning in to Xtreme Lyfe. And now, this is the moment Xtreme Lyfe fans around the world have been waiting for. It's time!
We are live. All right, welcome to Weekly Weigh-In, where we talk about combat sports, break down sporting combat events, analyze fight cards. We're talking tonight about UFC Fight Night. We're also going to talk about Bellator 245. You can catch these events on, you can catch UFC on ESPN, ESPN Plus every Saturday night. I think the early prelims start at 6 p.m. And you could catch the Bellator next week. September 11th coming from Mohegan Sun in Connecticut on Paramount Network's DAZN. So check that out. That starts at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So check that out. I'm here today with Ray Flores, my brother, my partner here in crime. He comes from ESPN Chicago. He's also PBC boxing and play-by-play announcer. Good friend of mine. Love to have him on the show. And we should be joined in a few minutes by Carrie Stellar from In the Girls Corner, where Inked meets MMA and a little bit of everything else. So she's awesome too. She'll be on soon. And let's get going. Let's just go right into it. We're going to talk about UFC Fight Night tomorrow night. We got Alistair Overeem versus Augusto Sakai. Should be an awesome fight, man. What do you think, Ray?
Well, you know what? Hey, Steve, it's always a pleasure to join you here on the show. And I got to tell you, Alistair Overeem, the OG of MMA and combat sports. I mean, this guy has been around for such a long time. This will be the 19th time he's making that long walk into the octagon. He's been fighting as a professional since 1999. The names that he has beaten, coming so close to defeating Stipe Miocic a couple years ago for the heavyweight championship of the world in Miocic's backyard of Cleveland, Ohio. The fact that he's beaten Junior Dos Santos and Brock Lesnar in the fashion that he did. He's coming off of the victory over Walt Harris. Alistair Overeem is one of those guys that's always going to be in tip-top shape, always going to be focused, and is going to, no doubt, be ready to go and perform at such a high level. I am very excited to see what happens when it comes to Alistair Overeem's matchup against Augusto Sakai. Sakai is a guy who has a 15-1 record. His only loss coming at the hands of Cheick Kongo at Bellator, and to be honest with you, this guy's got power. He has 11 of his 15 wins have come by knockout. I think this is an excellent fight. I know that Overeem, I believe, is 11 years older than Augusto Sakai. Overeem's 40. Sakai is 29 years of age. But to me, power is the last thing to fade when it comes to a prize fighter. And I think that Alistair Overeem is able to get the victory tomorrow over Augusto Sakai, because I think that, Overeem can maybe go another year and a half and then call it quits. But I don't think he's done just yet.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I don't think he's quite done yet. I mean, I love Alistair Overeem. I think he's just he's an icon in it. He has 46 professional wins in his career, which is incredible. He's got a great record. He's been around a long time in professional fighting. UFC, he comes from a kickboxing background. He's got a Dutch Muay Thai style of fighting. He's got unbelievable power. He's been in several different, he's a Strikeforce guy. He came from, he's been in Pride. I mean, he's been around a long time, and really he understands how to use the cage. He knows how to move around it. He knows how. I think in his best interest is keep the fight standing up. Even though he does have a tendency, he can pull people into that guillotine choke that he likes to use too. So, and he can knock you out with his left hand.
Yeah, he can.
He's one of those guys that's just incredible that way.
I think the key for him tomorrow night is to keep Sakai at bay, use his long limbs, keep him at distance with the jab. That way he can use his leg kicks, his big frame, the elbows. You know, Alistair Overeem pointed out, comes from that Muay Thai background. If you remember back in the late 90s, early 2000s with the K1 Grand Prix, and you had like Alistair Overeem in Perda Arts, and also Bob Sapp was in the mix as well. I mean, they
remember Bob Sapp?
Oh yeah, Bob Sapp going to war and everything.
Every bit of 300 and something pounds.
Yeah, Miko Krokop was in the mix when it comes to K1, and that level of kickboxing is world-class kickboxing. It is literally just high caliber striking, and that's one thing that Alistair Overeem, even though he's gotten a little bit slower, the power is still there, the pop behind his punches is still there, and he has such a very high octagon IQ. You know, he's lost to guys like Curtis Blades, he's lost to Rosternak a couple of fights ago, but the guy, if he fights but if he fights a striker, it really favors him. If he fights a striker, or if he fights a wrestler that doesn't have good striking ability, he takes advantage of you. A la the case with Brock Lesnar. When Brock Lesnar jumped back into the octagon, and he learned real quick what it was like to deal with Alistair Overeem if you don't have your striking ready to go against him. So I think Overeem is going to give Sakai the business tomorrow. I'm very confident in that prediction, Steve.
Okay, yeah, no, and then there's there's people going both ways on that one. I didn't get a chance to check the odds on it, but I think you're right on with that. I think Overeem's he's got the power, he's got the experience. Not to take anything away from Sakai. What do you think Sakai would have to do to win this fight?
I think Sakai's going to have to make this a dirty boxing match. So take him, push him against the octagon. Don't let Overeem get the leverage behind his shots, and make him uncomfortable. At 40 years of age, the fact that Sakai is 29, theoretically, he has the better conditioning. He's the younger, fresher man, so he needs to make Overeem uncomfortable. Put your body frame on Alistair Overeem. Make him push you off of him. Make him breathe deep and dive into those 40-year-old lungs. And no knock against 40-year-olds, but make him work against the younger, fresher fighter in Sakai, because at distance, Overeem can dictate the pace, the tempo, and the range, whereas if Sakai bull rushes him and makes this a very close distance fight, then Sakai can start to use his dirty boxing. He can use some elbows. He can use knees. I would even have him use knees to the thigh to try to take away the older legs of one Alistair Overeem. This is a very much an experience against youth battle, and Sakai needs to use his mentality as to, let me do things that are going to benefit my youth and my conditioning and my overall, that I'm a fresher fighter and I need to wear down Overeem.
Yeah, and you're talking about a 29-year-old versus a 40-year-old, and you're talking about a guy who really knows how to use the distance very well, knows how to strike, knows how to use the legs, knows how to use the arms, and, I agree. That's definitely right. Keep the pressure on him. Keep the pressure on him. Push him up against the cage. Get him into that clinch. Get him moving that way, so you could just make the lungs work. Make him put pressure on him. I mean, that's what I would do if I was a young fighter going against an older fighter, and I'm coming at this. I can't believe it. I'm gonna be 48 in a couple of weeks.
Man, you look great.
I'm getting old as hell. I'm getting old as hell. But yeah, hey, I tell people, I work out like a maniac, and I try to keep myself in as good a shape as possible. But if I didn't wake up in pain every day, I would think I was dead.
Well, look, Steve, the way I look at this matchup with Overeem and Augusta Sakai is that I look at Alistair Overeem as being a high-level – college football is back, by the way. I love football. So I look at it as Alistair Overeem is a powerful, strong, defensive smash-mouth football team from the Big Ten. And they're taking on a high-level SEC team that likes to go up and down the field and score, 40 points plus. So the whole mentality is you need offense from Sakai, but you need smart offense. Throw a lot of punches, make Overeem work. If you're Alistair Overeem, you want to make this a slow, plotting fight, and you want to hope that Sakai makes a mistake based on what you're doing. And how do you do that? By keeping your distance. So Sakai is so worried about whatever lethal punch you're throwing at him or lethal strike that it makes him think and it makes him tense up. And when you tense up and you're not fluid, you make a mistake, thus getting caught. So that's the keys to victory on both ends.
Yeah, get them frustrated. Make them do something stupid and move into something. And then, like you said, I mean, get them to do something, make a mistake, and just drop them with either left or right hand or a leg, or even, like I said, Overeem.
Or even a knee. I mean, how many times have we seen Overeem drop people with knees? If he gets you in the clinch.
Yeah.
Or even like if you lean in too much and you're at distance and then you lean in, you get careless, Overeem can hit you with that knee and it's game over.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It'll definitely drop you. So let's check out. So the co-main event on that night, tomorrow night, is OSP, which is another guy who's just incredible, versus Alonzo Mansfield. Manafield. Just an incredible fight. What do you think? What are your thoughts on this one?
I think that, Menfield, I like him because, he only has one loss on his record. OSP has fought some top-level guys. I mean, lost to Dominic Reyes. I think he was in there against John Jones as well. He's lost 3 of his last 4. I think he has a wonderful story. 37 years of age, from Immokalee, Florida. And it's funny that I brought up the SEC a few moments ago because he actually played with the Tennessee Volunteers and was a redshirt, and he played 3 years, came off the bench. But look, being on an SEC football team, that's no easy task. So he's a great athlete, is OSP, but I think he's slowing down. And against this fight against Minfield, I think it totally favors, OSP's opponent, because I think that he's sort of in the downward of his career. And I think Minfield, if you look at him, I mean, he's just genetically just so jacked, and he's powerful. He's explosive. And I think he's going to get the better of the fight tomorrow night.
Yeah, and Menfield has a habit of getting into that first round and really putting it on strong in that first round and dropping people in that first round.
Yeah, well, 8 of his 9 wins have come by TKO or knockout, so he doesn't like to waste much time in that octagon.
You don't like to let it go. What did they say? Don't let it go to the referee. Don't let it go to the judges. Get it out of the judges'
Absolutely
hands.
not.
And he likes to take it out of the judges' hands, and that's that's the thing. But he's another one though. You can't make a mistake with OSP either, because he could certainly as we've both seen many times in a lot of these fights, is it could go either way sometimes. It's just one shot that can end the whole thing in a second. And
well, it's funny too, Steve. I think I was on your show about a month ago, I was writing off Chris Weidman, and Weidman, I think, had lost like 4 or 5 in a row. So as quickly as, I'm not writing off OSP, but I'm just saying it's starting to look like his skills are depreciating. So that's why I'm saying it looks like he's on the downward spiral of his career. But again, look at what Chris Weidman did in his last performance. I mean, what an outing. So OSP is capable against Minfield. But again, I just think as I look at the numbers, I look at where they are in their careers, it almost seems like OSP is being served up to Minfield, and Minfield's the young, hungry lion getting ready to devour OSP, because OSP now is getting into that realm, Steve, of being a name on younger fighters' records. And I love that we're seeing that in MMA. We see it in boxing a lot, but MMA is so young and new into the consciousness of the sports public that now we're starting to get guys who are former contenders, former world title challengers, become names, and they become opponents for the younger generation. So what's going to happen? Is the old guy going to, get the better and show the young guy what it's like, or is the young guy going to override the old contender? That's what makes this fight so compelling.
Yeah, and it's exciting. It's exciting to watch. It's going to be fun to see. And, I'm going to be, as I always tell you, I'm going to be in my backyard, my TV going, checking it out, because what the hell else do you got to do these days anyway?
True. And don't you have a projector too, Steve? I think, don't you have a projector going?
I do, but I don't use that one too often. I got a pretty nice sized TV, and sometimes I'll set it up by the pool, and I'll just hang out in the pool and watch the TV from there. But it's getting to be September now, so it's the weather's cooling off a little bit. Not too much yet. I mean, this weekend's supposed to be really nice, so we'll see what tomorrow looks like. But it's New Jersey, and you're out on the West Coast, so you're out. So you get nice weather all year round. I'm jealous of that, but It's
Absolutely.
but it's fun in the summertime, spring, summer, fall. For a little while, you can kind of enjoy the outdoors around here. Actually, this is a nice time of year because it's not humid and nasty like it could be in July.
Yeah, fall weather on the East Coast and the Midwest is the best.
Oh yeah, it's phenomenal. But it's great though. It's going to be a great fight. It's going to be phenomenal. I can't wait to watch it. I also wanted to talk about Santos versus Texeira, but that fight is canceled. As we found out today.
No, it got postponed.
Oh yeah, it got postponed to
October 3rd, right? I think it's October 3rd.
That's correct. Yep, you're right. It got moved to October 3rd because I think there was a positive COVID test that happened in that one.
With Glover, right? I thought Glover tested positive, didn't he?
Yeah, Glover did, yeah. Yep, Glover tested positive, so he's out, which definitely opens up. I'm wondering what they're going to do with that main event now. Are they going to make Michelle Waterson and Angela Hill?
I think that fight has been elevated, Steve. I mean, I don't know if it's official yet, but everything that I read in preparation for the show tonight is that fight will likely be elevated or has been elevated. So I'm very cautious in regards to confirming anything or not, but I think that's the direction in which they're going. And I think it's a fun matchup. Waterson, Waterson's lost 2 in a row. Angela Hill's lost, one. She lost in her last outing, but both women need a victory. Michelle Waterson's been in there against some high-level competition. Same thing with Angela Hill, and I think that the women getting the main event spot. And I know we've had many women main events in the course of UFC history, but still, for you look at Waterson and Angela Hill, they both want to show this new audience because there are so many new combat sports fans that are starting to get the itch for the fight game because sports went away and the only fights that were happening were combat sporting events. So I think new fans have been born, and now these ladies get an opportunity to get a hold of this main event next week and show what they can do, and I'm very excited for them.
No, it's going to be a good fight, and it's a pretty good matchup too because you got number 8 and number 13 in the strawweight division going at it. So we'll see who comes out on top. I've been a big fan of Michelle Waterson for a long time. I think she's a great fighter. I think she's had her ups and downs in the UFC, but she's got a long history of really putting on a good show. She's a great striker. She could come at it from a few different angles. And Angela Hill also, they're both. It's going to be a good matchup. I think it's totally worthy of a main event. Outing for both of those fighters.
When they're both Invicta FC veterans, and that's what's so important about what Shannon Knapp does with her entire staff down there in Kansas City with putting on Invicta Fighting Championships on UFC Fight Pass. I mean, these women develop their skills at Invicta. I remember, being around Michelle Waterson and Angela Hill. I think I did both of their fights within Invicta and doing, the cage announcing in place of Joe Martinez whenever Joe's got UFC duties or anything along those lines. And, there's so much high-level talent at Invicta, and you get to see it when the UFC, you either watch it as they're growing and blossoming within Invicta, or you see them in the UFC and people wonder, where do these women come from? Well, they came from Invicta and what Shannon Knapp is doing. So I think this is a heck of a fight.
Oh, yeah. And, I don't know if everybody knows, but, Michelle Waterson was the atomweight champion for Invicta FC as well for I think, 2013 and 14. So, she was definitely a wonderful fighter. Both. It's going to be an exciting matchup. I think it's going to be great. So let's talk Bellator for a second. Bellator, real cool match coming up. I'm really excited about this one, actually. Davis and Machida. What do you think about that fight?
Well, man, talk about two guys who have been around the sport for a long time. I mean, I remember being at the Rogers Center in April of 2011 when Lyoto Machida ended Randy Couture's career with that vicious front kick in front of over 60,000 fans. I also had the displeasure of being at the United Center in 2013 when Rashad Evans defeated, or I think it was Rashad Evans defeating Phil Davis in what was one of the most lackluster UFC on Fox events that I have ever witnessed. So I've seen Machida compete at such a high level. Phil Davis has grown and has really furthered his game since that main event outing against Rashad Evans years ago. But, Phil Davis, I think he wrestled at Penn State. His striking has come along very well. I mean, Machida, what can you say about him? I mean, this guy was among the upper echelon of the UFC light heavyweight division for years and years and years. I remember hearing about him before he made his UFC debut, having this karate background and how unorthodox he was, and his movements and his feints. And he showcased that within the octagon. And now in Bellator, he has another opportunity to extend his career. I think it's a fun matchup. But if I was a betting man on this particular fight, I think you got to go. I'm
excited to hear who you're going to go with.
I think you got to go with Phil Davis in the sense that Phil Davis is not going to want to stand and trade with Lyoto Machida. And I think Phil Davis is bigger, stronger, has the more physicality, and he should not at all stand and trade with Machida. And if he's smart, he goes and tries to make this a rough and tumble fight, get him on the ground, use your elbows, use good body positioning, heavy hips, get to side control, play around in the half guard. He can't get too careless because Machida's got a jiu-jitsu background. He's a black belt, I believe, in traditional jiu-jitsu, not just BJJ does Machida. But Phil Davis, strong wrestler, tough. He needs to grind it out in order to get the W, but I would lean more towards Phil Davis.
Yeah, no, I think you're probably right on with that. The thing that you get into is, both of these guys can mix it up. I mean, that's the exciting thing about this fight. Both of these guys could stand, and both of these guys can drop. They could both roll really well. They both flow very well on the ground, but they both also can hit you with a shot that'll take you out. Yeah. That's what you got to remember about this fight. And, Davis has had some amazing sparring partners. You got to remember he's sparred with Dominic Cruz, John Jones. I mean, these are all partners that he's sparred with. And it's pretty amazing that he's going to get in there, and we're going to see it with Machida. We're going to see what happens. How often do you get to see a guy who's actually fought Randy Couture?
I know.
In the ring. So, that's pretty amazing too. So, between Machida and Davis, I'm going to probably go with Davis as well. But I would not sleep on Machida either. I think it takes one mistake by Davis, and it's going to be over.
Yeah, and he can kick you with something crazy, Steve. He can kick you like a front kick or like a crescent kick, or I wouldn't even be surprised if Machida lands something on the back of your ear or something nuts to totally throw you off. I'm gonna say a pretty bold statement, but I truly do believe this. Lyoto Machida is one of the most prolific strikers that we've seen in mixed martial arts history because of how unorthodox he is, how he sets up his strikes, whether it be from a punch or kicks or knees, how elusive he is. He kind of gives you a little poor man's Bruce Lee version to you if you watch some of his stances in terms of how he kind of stands and bounces around on his toes.
Yeah, he's amazing at using the angles, right? He'll come at you from angles you don't expect him to come at you from. And that's like, and the level changes and the angles, it just frustrates his opponents, throws them off. They come in with a game, and he makes you go off of your game plan. Really, he comes in and just throws some pretty crazy stuff at you. I've seen him do spinning heel kicks, different things like that'll just, right off the top, and it's like, that's the first thing you're going to throw.
Well, and you know what, Steve, the thing is that if you're preparing for Machida, it's hard to prepare for that because your sparring partners and your training partners, even though they try to emulate what Machida tries to do, you can't really prepare for the kind of craziness that you're going to get when that bell rings or they sound that horn, and then he comes at you and you're preparing for one thing, and then he throws something completely different at you.
Yeah, no, and that's the difficulty about a fighter like that. When you have somebody who's so unorthodox that, who do you spar with, right? Who do you spar with to train for that? Who do you get prepared? How do you prepare for that? And I think, people try to emulate it and get it, as close as they can, but you're not going to be able to imitate that. Closest it gets to is just an imitation.
Exactly.
So that being said, let's talk boxing, man. What do you got for boxing? You got an exciting couple days coming up. So I know Sunday's a big match coming up.
So I'm within the PBC bubble right now here in Los Angeles. The weigh-in will be tomorrow. I'm very excited about calling the Dennis Ugas Abel Ramos matchup on Sunday. You know, enjoy your Sunday fun day night with us on Labor Day Sunday. It is 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific time. Your Dennis Ugas has won 2 straight. He has Cuban bronze medalist, 34 years of age. He is top 10 in the welterweight division at 147 pounds. His only loss over the past few years was a narrow split decision loss at the hands of Sean Porter for the welterweight championship of the world. And, you know, some people felt that Ugas should have gotten that victory. He's taken on a guy in Abel Ramos who has won 2 straight fights. Abel Ramos, very young, outstanding, pressure fighter, defeated Brian Perella back on February 15th in Nashville at Bridgestone Arena in front of over 10,000 fans. That was the co-main event live on Fox of Caleb Plant as a victory over Vincent Weigenboots. But Abel Ramos, in his last fight against Brian Perella, was down on all the scorecards. In the final minute of the fight, comes back, gets 2 knockdowns, stops his opponents with seconds to go to get himself the victory and this opportunity. Abel Ramos likes to come forward, throw a lot of punches, and I think it's going to be a heck of a matchup with PBC live on Fox this upcoming Sunday night. So I'm pumped to call it for the international audience, and no better place I'd rather be, and hope you all can tune in. I mean, look, you get the UFC on Saturday, you get some boxing on Saturday night, and then you get PBC boxing on Sunday evening. So strap it up with us.
Yeah, no, it's going to be an exciting weekend. I know I'm going to be tuning into all of it. And, I always, I think, Ray, you got me more into boxing than I've ever been. Just hanging out and talking with you a lot, because it's like, I came into MMA. And then, like I said, I used to watch a lot of boxing back in the day with Holyfield and Michael Spink. Mike Tyson and Sugar Ray Leonard and all those fighters. And it's just boxing is actually becoming very exciting again. There's a lot of movement. There's a lot of good fighters coming in. There was a little time period where it was a little lull in it for some reason. I don't know what was going on.
Well, it wasn't on network TV. It was on the, premium cable and stuff like that. It's kind of hard to find for the casual fans. But now, PBC's on Fox, you have boxing on ESPN. Showtime is doing a wonderful job to, assert their stranglehold in the business as well. I mean, I think it's great. And also, Steve, the bottom line is that the fighters are delivering. We have a lot of young, hungry fighters that are either early 20s, mid-20s, even early 30s. They're all saying, I'm the baddest man on the planet. It's my time. Who's going to be the next Floyd Mayweather? Because Mayweather was the pay-per-view kingpin for such a long time. And now that he's retired, Manny Pacquiao. Yeah, I mean, Manny Pacquiao's only has, a couple fights left. So who's going to be that next big superstar? That's what's so fun about it. People are waiting, when it comes to Michael Jordan, when he took over in the late 80s, early 90s, who was going to take the mantle from Bird and Magic? When Michael retired, then, Kobe Bryant came along. After Kobe started dwindling down, then it was LeBron James. So it's like, who's going to take the mantle here within boxing? And that's what makes these fights so exciting.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely getting back to where it used to be, which is great. It's great to see that. It's great to see, so many young fighters coming up. And, I know I'm going to be watching PBC on Sunday. I think it's going to be an amazing night, amazing weekend full of fights. The next week's going to be great, too. I mean, it's just we got so much going on. And I think, so many people are starved for entertainment. We got to get, people check it out because you got nothing else to do anyway. Watch it, check it out. And yeah, go ahead.
No, and I was going to tell you, Steve, is that, we were talking on air. It's about, when you watch a boxing show, it's about joining us for a couple of hours of entertainment. Yep. So, my philosophy when it comes to the broadcast that I'm on, that I'm a part of, is we're going to bring you the entertainment of boxing. We're going to tell you about the beauty of the sport. There is enough negativity going on in our world with, COVID-19 and the social unrest that is happening here in the United States. We want you to come in when you invite us into your homes and enjoy 2 or 3 hours of boxing and be entertained. Take your mind off of everyday life and escape with us as we tell you and show you some of these amazing fighters.
Well, like I said, I'm going to be tuned in. I hope a lot of other people are. I know a lot of other people are going to be tuned in and checking it out. I've been enjoying enjoying it. And, I just think it's going to be an amazing night, an amazing weekend, and a lot of fun. So, and thank you for helping provide all that stuff and coming on my show every time. I mean, Ray, you're awesome, man. You come on almost every time I ask you to come on.
Yeah,
so
you're my man, Steve. I love what you're doing, man. And even, I listen on every single Friday, even if I'm not on. And, I got it on and stuff like that, preparing for shows and everything else. So definitely, enjoy tuning in every single Friday, man. Keep up the great work.
Wow. Awesome, brother. You're awesome. Thank you so much. And, we'll get you back on again soon. And, you and I will keep talking. I'm going to definitely check out the fight this weekend. And like I said, check out the fights, check out UFC, check out Bellator. So much stuff going on, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, checking this out, checking out the live podcast, the live broadcast podcast. I don't even know what to call it, but Xtreme Lyfe weigh-in. We're trying to do it every Friday night just to give you some stuff to check out and do and get as many people into the fight combat sport game as we can, man, because it's definitely an exciting time right now in combat sports, as we talked about tonight, and there's a lot of cool stuff happening. Thanks again, Ray. I appreciate it, and I'll see you soon, brother.
Definitely, man. Take care. Enjoy your Labor Day weekend, brother. Have a good one.
You too, my friend.